to our Week 6 preview, game picks, sure bet of the week and upset of the week. I actually think the sure bet's a bit of a tough one this week. Don't know about you, but I don't think there's too many where I'd put my house on it. But I'm actually going to go Friday night's
100%.
game, the big rivalry game between, well, they're not the two new teams, Footscray's old as, but they give me young, trendy, good-looking, sexy vibes. The Bulldogs and Giants. This is probably the one I'm most confident in. I think Freo's the shortest price. I think they're $1.08 to beat Norths, but I'm going Doggies to beat Giants. GWS are coming off 2 wins, but on paper, you just compare the sides. With GWS's injuries, the Doggies shouldn't lose. They're in insane form. Yes, it's probably not the smartest idea to put the house on a rivalry game because traditionally rivalry games can go anyway, but yeah, just backing the Doggies to roll on, and all roads lead to their big matchup against Richmond next week. So hopefully they just see that GWS is nothing but a mere speed bump and easily get the win there. But yeah, not sure, to be honest. What's your sure bet of the week?
Yeah, I half agree with you there. I just think hopefully the Giants show a bit of fight, and it does help that it's at Giants Stadium. So hopefully, Toby Gregg put on a bit of a show.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. I'm with you. There's no real sure bets of the week. I'm even looking at, Freo North, who is, probably the sure bet of the week, but, even North could get up there. I know it's probably Optus, so I'm going to have to lock that in as the sure bet of the week, but even then I wouldn't if it was a game show, I wouldn't be putting everything on Freo to win. So it's good. It's really good going into a round knowing that there's no real sure bet. So good for punters. There's a bit of value floating around, but apart from that, have to go Port as well against us.
That's true.
Yeah, so every time I've said this about us, we've come out and won, or at least every time I've sort of tipped us in whatever reason, we've come out and done the exact opposite. So I'm hoping that this week no difference. I'm going to say Freo and Port.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, looking back on it, Port is probably very likely to get the win. But upset of the week, there's a fair few to pick here. I've gone for them as the upset of the week before. They've failed me, but I'm going again. I talked about Sydney's. The wheels are falling off a little bit, and I'm getting around the Suns. I just think they need a win. The Sunnies need a win. They're starting to really distance themselves from those mid-table teams that we were talking about in the top 8 section before. They look a long way off that pack that's just outside the 8. So I think a win here would put them right back in that pack where they probably should be. And yeah, Sydney, they've just looked not as good in the last couple of weeks, and the Suns haven't really shown anything to suggest that they would beat them. But why not? I'll back the Suns in to beat the Swans. I did tip them, so yeah.
Fair enough.
What about you?
I've got a couple. I've got the Bombers against the Pies on an ANZAC Day clash.
Don't mind it.
Look at the odds, and I know the Bombers had obviously poor week against the Lions, but there's a lot of factors that go into that. It's that the Gabba was really wet. There was a Lockie Neal show as well. And the Pies, I don't know, I think they're being a bit flattered because they only lost to the Eagles by sort of 5-ish goals. So I'm definitely backing the Bombers here. They have that big game atmosphere about them. They do roll in a good crowd, which is what I've always sort of envied, given I'm a Saints supporter at Marvel. So I've definitely got the Bombers there. I've tipped the Bombers, so I reckon they're going to come out firing. I reckon it's going to be a bit of a show from Tipper. I reckon he might kick sort of 3 or so, Hooker and Stringer, and Alec Waterman hopefully chip in for a couple as well for the sake of our teams. If he's picked, fingers crossed. And then the Eagles against the Cats, just because I don't like the way the Cats are playing at all. I know the Eagles, I think Josh Kennedy's in doubt. But I mean, look, they've got Darling and Allen, and I was going to say Liam Ryan, but he's out too. So I'm still actually going to back the Eagles, I reckon, at the Cats, because I think Danger's now out for an extended period. So yeah, I'm going to back those. It's not just about for the sake of the podcast choosing upsets. I'm going to tip both of these teams. So fingers crossed they can rise me up my tipping ladder, which has been awful this year so far. But I genuinely think those teams should be favourites. I honestly don't see how they're not, especially Essendon. I think the odds should definitely be a lot closer. I'd be very happy to see them at $1.90 each, but um, to see them at what they are, I think it's going to surprise a lot of punters and people of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I reckon the Anzac Day clash should just be like split 50-50.
Yeah,
I have tipped the Cats, but yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm pretty scared of West Coast. They're in good form, even with some of the injuries they have suffered. But looking at the game spread now, we laughed about it last week, but North plus 65 would actually got up.
I
Um,
know.
thanks to Geelong not kicking straight, but so North at plus 50, plus 44 this week, plus 43.5. I think that's
Jump
another
on it.
shout. I don't
Jump
think
on it.
Fremantle blow many teams out. They do love
No.
a close, scrappy game. So I think that's not even a bad shout. And then the other game spreads I'm looking at is just basically the teams I've tipped where the margin is
Yeah.
small. So Brisbane
Mm,
-7.5 over Carlton, Richmond -6.5 over Melbourne, Collingwood, and then Hawthorn down in Tassie. I reckon I'm pretty confident they'll beat Adelaide. So for it to be by more than 7 points, it's a solid chance. So yeah, that's just my logic there. Like
mm,
if you think a team's gonna win, usually the margin is more than 6 or 7 points. So but yeah, I'm not actually. I take Collingwood out of that. I'm not confident. Um, very. I just don't know Essendon that well at the moment. Far out. I should have
yeah.
watched. I haven't watched too much of them, but
Yeah.
yeah. Other ones you've got down.
No, I agree with all that. I like the Lions one actually, but I'm gonna go with Port because I want to be wrong like I am every week with the Saints match. So I've got Port at minus 27.5. I feel as though if Port are going to win, it's going to be comfortably, or
Yeah.
at least if Port's going to win comfortably, it's going to be by a lot. It's not going to be a comfortable sort of you know it's just like um lost my train of thought. Sorry. Yeah, it's not going to be by a comfortable sort of 5 goal margin. It's going to be it's going to be a blowout. I think we've all come to terms with that now, unfortunately. So hopefully I'm wrong, like I am every week with these, except for last week. Shout out to the Giants. But yeah, I'm going to have to lock in the Port one there.
Yeah, that Giants tip was bloody good, mate. No one was backing you in there. I think even me and Pilch were a bit confused, but you
There you
called
go.
that. Yeah. By the way, weird question because it's
Yeah.
got doesn't even have much to do with footy, but we'll look at it from a footy point. How do you rate Anzac Day footy being on a Sunday? Do you
well,
like
I
it or
mean,
not?
you can't exactly change the date of that day. So, um, I don't know. You know what they could have done is maybe shift around a bit so there's only one game on the Sunday. I would have liked to see that, and then maybe a game Monday night. Unfortunately for the Supercoach teams, that is. So maybe chuck a game Thursday night, one Friday night, and then the regular Super Saturday, and then one Sunday, and then like one Monday. I reckon if you wanted to sort of create a bit more of an Anzac Day environment, because and like the game is sort of wedged between two others, so it is a bit awkward. But I would have done that personally if I was the fixture boss, but um, they have made it so that it's not overlapping with games. I think the Hawks Adelaide game starting at 12:30, and the Saints Port game starting directly after the game. So they have made sure that it is going to be a standalone game by itself. But um, yeah, I would have made sure it's a standalone day. Um, but it's footy. I mean, who's complaining?
Yeah, fair enough. And then just finally, before we finish up, how do you assess the Richmond Melbourne game, Anzac Day Eve? Do you think Richmond will win comfortably? Do you think Melbourne are at that level yet to compete with a Richmond type team? Where you think? What are you thinking about this one?
Well, I'd say Tigers because they just know how to win and they always do with the momentum. And I'm still going to tip the Tigers, but I'm visualizing in my head now. I can see the D's getting up. I can see everyone's starting to say, "Oh my god, the D's are 6-0, like they are for real now." and I would not be surprised if they do. So I think this is going to be their first big test of the year. I think going off what Geelong's dishing up now, it was a test, but there are bigger tests now. This is one of them. So I can definitely see them getting up. I think, they're not going to be overwhelmed by the crowd, given it's going to be probably 50-50, which is going to be awesome. So there's going to be a real big game atmosphere about it and at night. So I seriously, I can see the D's, streaming forward and a couple of minutes left, but they've just about secured the win, and they kick a game-winning goal by some baker like Jake Melksham banging into the second level. I can definitely see this happening, and I can see the D's getting up and upsetting the Tigers, and I can see them progressing themselves up right high into that top 8. So I can see it happening, and I'm starting to convince myself to tip the D's after this, but I can't wait for it. It's going to be an awesome game to watch. It's an awesome day of football, that one, actually. The Geelong West Coast, then followed by Carlton Brisbane, which I think will be awesome, under the roof, and then on to Melbourne Richmond. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome, and discard Freo North on the other channel. So yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome day of footy, the ANZAC Day Eve. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm so pumped for it. But I tell you who's the party pooper. Bloody Simon Goodwin. How sick would it have been? Melbourne 5-0, and you check the team lineups, look at the ins, and it just has the Weed and Ben Brown. That would have been an unreal side. But he's come out today and said only one of them's playing. So he doesn't want to disrupt the forward chemistry, which, fair enough. But come on.
Who do you think it'll be?
I think it'll be the Weed. I think, didn't he kick 7 goals or something?
He had some ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, so I think you kind of have to bring him in. Maybe they'll just give Ben Brown a little bit more time, but shouldn't be long till we see both of them in the D's forward line. But excited for that one. Excited, as you mentioned, the whole day on Saturday, Anzac Day Club. It's actually just a great round of footy, and next weekend as well is an even better round of footy. There's some real good games headlined by that Richmond Dogs game. Really looking forward to it. Hopefully there's some feisty action in the Doggies Giants, as there usually is. It's one of my favourite matches, like both of those clubs.
100%.
But that'd be pretty nice if there's a few melees and stuff, and also some exciting football. Come on, Toby Green, get going, kick 6, start fights,
get angry,
do what you do best.
Yeah, it's a miracle! Oh yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.